Hello everyone, welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce. This is SST Edupedia. I am Assistant Professor Deepa Agrawal from ITCS department. In this video, I am going to explain you some concepts of database system, and this database system is in FYCS semester 2. These are the contents of this video. First, terminology of DBMS, labels of abstraction, database languages, and DBMS architecture. So these are the terminology of DBMS. First, data. Data is nothing but facts, figures, etc. like 1, ABC. These are the data. Record is a collection of related data items. Table or relation, it is collection of related records. Now row or tuple, the rows are called tuples. Column, also called field or attribute. Database is a collection of related tables. Query, it means command. Now we see different levels of abstraction. Database systems are made up of complex data structures. To ease the user interaction with a database, the developers hide internal irrelevant details from users. This process of hiding irrelevant details from user is called data abstraction. These are the different levels of abstraction. First is the physical level, second logical level, and third is view level. Physical level. This is the lowest level of data abstraction. It describes how data is actually stored in database. You can get the complex data structure details at this level. Second level is logical level. This is the middle level of three-level data abstraction architecture. It describes what data is stored in database. And third one is view level. This is the highest level of data abstraction. This level describes the user interaction with database system. Now we will see data independence. If a database system is not multi-layered, then it becomes difficult to make any changes in the database system. A database system normally contains a lot of data in addition to users' data. For example, it stores data about data known as metadata to locate and retrieve data easily. It is rather difficult to modify or update a set of metadata once it is stored in the database. But as a DBMS expands, it needs to change over time to satisfy the requirements of the users. If the entire data is dependent, it would become a tedious and highly complex job. So there are the logical data independence. Logical data is data about a database, that is, it stores information about how data is managed inside. For example, a table or a relation is stored in the database and all its constraints applied on that relation. Logical data independence is a kind of mechanism which liberalizes itself from actual data stored on the disk. If we do some changes on table format, it should not change the data residing on the disk. Now we will see physical data independence. All the schemas are logical and the actual data is stored in bit format on the disk. Physical data independence is the power to change the physical data without impacting the schema or logical data. For example, in case we want to change or upgrade the storage system itself, suppose we want to replace hard disk with SSD, it should not have any impact on the logical data or schemas. Now we will see database languages. There are different types of database languages. A DBMS has appropriate languages and interfaces to express database queries and updates. Database languages can be used to read, store and update the data in the database. As you can see in this diagram, there are different types of DBMS languages: DDL, DCL, DML and TCL. First is DDL. It stands for Data Definition Language. It is used to define database structure or pattern. It is used to create schemas, tables, indexes, constraints, etc. in the database. Using the DDL statements, we can create the skeleton of the database. Data definition language is used to store the information of metadata like the number of tables and schemas, their names, indexes, columns in each table, constraints, etc. Second is, these are the tasks which DDL can perform. First is create. It is used to create objects in the database. Second, alter. It is used to alter the structure of the database. Drop. It is used to delete objects from the database. Truncate. It is used to remove all records from a table. Rename. It is used to rename an object. Comment. It is used to comment on the data dictionary. Now we will see second type of database language, that is DML. It stands for Data Manipulation Language. It is used for accessing and manipulating data in a database. It handles user request. And the following are the tasks which DML can perform. First is select. It is used to retrieve data from a database. Insert. It is used to insert data into a table. Update. It is used to update existing data within a table. Delete. It is used to delete all records from a table. Now third one is DCL, which stands for Data Control Language. It is used to retrieve and store or saved data. The DCL execution is transactional. It also has rollback parameters. Here are some tasks that come under DCL, that is grant and revoke. Grant is used to give user access privileges to a database, and revoke is used to take back permissions from the user. And fourth type of database language is TCL, which stands for Transaction Control Language. TCL can be grouped into a logical transaction, and following are the tasks which TCL can perform, that is commit and rollback. Commit is used to save transaction on the database, and rollback is used to restore the database to original since the last commit. Now we will see DBMS architecture. The DBMS design depends upon its architecture. The basic client-server architecture is used to deal with a large number of PCs, web servers, database servers and other components that are connected with the networks. The client-server architecture consists of many PCs and workstations which are connected via the network. DBMS architecture depends upon how users are connected to the database to get their request done. This is the diagram of DBMS architecture. So there are three types of architecture: one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture. First we will see one-tier architecture. In this architecture, the database is directly available to the user. It means the user can directly sit on the DBMS and uses it. Any changes done here will directly be done on the database itself. It does not provide a handy tool for end users. And one-tier architecture is used for development of the local application where programmers can directly communicate with the database for the quick response. Two-tier architecture. It is the same as basic client-server model. In the two-tier architecture, applications on the client end can directly communicate with the database at the server side. The user interfaces and application programs are run on the client side. The server side is responsible to provide the functionalities like query processing and transaction management. To communicate with the DBMS, client side application establishes a connection with the server side. This is the diagram of two-tier architecture. You can see server side there is a database system and client side has the application and user. Now three-tier architecture, it contains another layer between the client and server. In this architecture, client cannot directly communicate with the server. The application on the client end interacts with an application server which further communicates with the database system. End user has no idea about the existence of the database beyond the application server. The database also has no idea about any other user beyond the application. The three-tier architecture is used in case of large web application. This is the diagram of three-tier architecture. In server side there is one more layer, that is called application server, and client side is same as in two-tier architecture. So this is all about today's session. Thank you.